Now, let's once again step back in Costa Mesa time. This city is rich with history and tradition, and a local artist has come up with a unique and clever way of not only telling parts of Costa Mesa's story, but by bringing it to life right here in the City of the Arts.
This was an Edwards Theater. It's one of the early Edwards theaters. That in itself makes this building a landmark. And we wanted to celebrate the history of Costa Mesa and include this theater. What you will see when you come to look at the mural is there's going to be 4 photos. They are superimposed in front of a landscape. In the middle of the mural, you're going to see a big map of what Costa Mesa used to be. On the top left is a photograph of a marquee. And this marquee, I got inspiration from an illustration that the original architect who built the Edwards Theater. On the bottom left, you will see a bunch of gentlemen standing in a picture around what looks like a construction site. That is the original groundbreaking. You'll see Mr. Gerald Sparks, the father of Tom Sparks, who originally bought the property. On the far right will be Mr. Jim Edwards, the owners of Edwards Theater. On the far right of the mural, on the top, you'll see the Fairview Hotel. It's one of the first hotels ever built in Costa Mesa. In 1891, the hotel was located 2 blocks north of Harbor and Adams. It ended up being moved, physically moved south. And the reason why they did that is because there was a hot spring that became very, very famous. If you look at the map, you'll see there's 2 train tracks indicated. People would come down on the train to stay at this hotel, which is a very beautiful first-rate hotel, and they would love to enjoy the hot spring. So it was like this big destination spot for the weekend. The marked green area on the map, that's where the Air Force Base was. That was the training center in World War II. Also on the map, you're going to see some interesting things about like what the names of the streets used to be. Harbor used to be called Fairview. Fairview used to be called Newport Avenue, and Adams used to be called Myrtle. I had to study 2 books, and then I went to the Costa Mesa Historical Society, and they helped me a lot with the information that ended up going on this wall. This is a real pivotal point. When Boomtown came along and they were developing this area, it all stemmed from Harbor and Adams. Typically when I do a mural, I'm using acrylic paint. And when I was given this job, they already had decided on this particular color. And so I decided to just stay in that family of colors using actually the same kind of paint. And I wanted to do sepia tones. I wanted something that would be kind of soothing to the neighborhood, not bright. I didn't want anything that was going to shout out at you. So I wanted something that would blend in. I got my degree in illustration from Art Center College of Design. My very, very first job, I was actually painting murals on tile. And so I became absolutely fascinated. So I was doing big murals. I did Rod Stewart's home and a bunch of other celebrities. Being an artist, getting this mural, this huge mural, it means everything to me. This is probably the most important thing I've ever done. Before I got this job, there's a lot of things I didn't know about the history of this town. The fact that this is one of the early sites of one of the early Edwards theaters, that it in itself was a landmark. And it's just so cool that I could do this painting behind it so that we can celebrate that history. Hopefully for future generations to teach kids about a little bit about the history of Costa Mesa.
You don't have to be a history buff to enjoy Allison's beautiful work of art, and it's definitely worth checking out if you have not done so already. The mural is located on the back of the old Edwards Theater building on Adams, which many of you may only know as the former Paul Mitchell building, which is now home to Barissimo Restaurant.